Welcome to the Meredith Show. Well, every week we do our best to inspire you. We're taking it up a notch, and moving forward, we're hitting the road to tell you stories we think you need to know about. This week, we're here at Thunder Tower, and get ready for some great Harley fun for an amazing cause. Her team has put together nearly 400 elegant and amazing events through the years, which is why we are so happy to have Melanie Murphy with us from By Invitation Only Events Planning and Design. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
You have an unbelievable history and quite a fabulous reputation, which is again why we're so happy to have you not only on this episode, but moving forward in what we're going to call Tie the Knot tips. You do like to share the love, as we say, which is your knowledge. And we are really happy to have you tell a little bit about your story of your beginnings, because you were actually a geology major.
I am a geologist by education, that is correct.
And you did not always work in events planning, but you did have an unusual circumstance which sparked your career. Tell us about it.
I did. It was honestly by accident. I was helping my sister who was photographing a wedding for a friend of hers, and there was not a planner or coordinator on site. And some things started to go a little south, I guess you could say. So I stepped in just trying to keep it organized and on track, and we want a seamless event for anything that we do. So I just sort of picked up a few pieces helping with this event, and I had one woman tell me, "You've missed your calling." And I said, I'm not quite sure about that, but I gave it some thought. I did a lot of research. I did educate myself, asked around to a lot of different vendors and fellow professionals, and then decided to pick it up one day because I've always loved weddings. This has been something that I've always appreciated greatly. And I started slow, and it really took off from there.
When you say it really took off, you're being modest. Tell us about your first 3 years and the growth that you had, because it was fascinating to me.
We started in August, mid-year, and I think I did 8 weddings my last 6 months of the year. And then after that, the next year, we brought in, I think, 14 or 15 weddings by our second year. And by our third year, we were pushing right at 40 some odd events, I guess you could say.
Wow. So obviously, at that point, you needed some help. Tell us how your team has grown, because it's not just you.
No, it is not just me. And I have to say, I cannot do this without the absolutely amazing team that we have on board. We do have 2 other planners that work at By Invitation Only that are super talented. And then we have about 22 other people that are on staff that we call on to help us create these amazing events.
Well, speaking of the amazing events, elegance and sophistication are words that many people use to describe the variety of the things that you put together. But you really like to get creative, and what I think is really interesting is where you find your inspiration. You ride for people who are tuning in.
I am an equestrian, that is correct.
And so you say that some of your best moments come to you while you're riding. Tell us about that.
That is what I call my out. I think we all have outs in business, especially when you own your own business. But I go to the farm, which is set in beautiful countryside, and I get out there, and when I'm by myself, it's so quiet, and I look around me. I take in what's around me and try to bring that to the table when it comes to design for some elements. Obviously, every event is different, so it does require me looking around all over the place. But when I'm out there, everything comes out of my brain that I may have in an office or in town, and I get out there and I just start thinking about things. I literally carry a phone around to record ideas as I go, just in case I have a great inspiration while I'm out there and go, oh, I've got to remember this.
Absolutely. It's hard to remember all those things, which is another fun fact about you. You like to keep lists and for lists of lists. Tell us about that.
I'm a little OCD on the list topic. I do have lists of lists. I am super organized on that part of it because I really want to make sure no detail is missed. So I have different lists for different elements of the event itself, and then I have a list to make sure that we brought all the lists to cover all the elements that are involved.
Well, I'm sure that that helps with your team to put things together, because obviously there's no turning back. These events are once in a lifetime for many people.
Exactly. So I make sure basically the way I joke about my list, but it truly is any one of my team can pick up those lists and put it together knowing exactly what has to happen if for some unfortunate reason I could not be there at that moment when something needed to happen.
Tell us a little bit about the secrets to your success. Obviously being organized is key, but you seem to have an attention for detail like no other. I'm sure your staff would probably agree.
They do agree with that one. They find it hilarious at some of the things that I adjust and pay attention to, from the straightness of a linen, that's a big pet peeve if something's just a little off, to lining up seams on linens on tables. It's odd quirks, but it's just one of those things that I obsess about, stuff being very polished, finished, and complete. That's how it's complete.
And often the joke is people don't notice it unless it isn't together, but your work that goes on behind the scenes is really limitless. For instance, if there's something amiss in the bathroom, we are not above the team taking attention to that.
This is true. I do joke about that too, how important it is that all the vendors that come together work together as a monster team. It takes all of them. Making sure that every little detail, from if it's taking out the trash or cleaning off a table or maybe even tidying up a restroom, we've done it because that's important too.
You actually found, you said, some great inspiration in Gone with the Wind, the classic. Would you like to do an event in that era?
Yeah, I am a big Gone with the Wind fan. That's just something I've always had an interest in and collected pieces from, but it's that elegance, it's that sophistication, and it's that attention to detail in that time period that we had that sometimes you don't see carried over always, but it kind of stays in the back of my mind of creating something very, I don't want to say Southern because it's not always Southern anchored, I guess, but truly just those details that are important.
One of the things I didn't really think about is the great variety you get to see and work with. For instance, you could be working on a Jewish wedding with a huppah, which is a flowery sort of overhang, to a totally different, perhaps Indian-themed wedding. Have you done it all to date?
We have. We have been very fortunate to have been involved in some very unique and different customs and traditions. Sometimes they educate us with some of the traditions that come about. We had a wedding recently that one of the bride had some ties to Bulgaria and that sort of thing. So there's some beautiful traditions that came about that we had the honor of helping her put together. But we do all types, we're there to make sure that what you want, what you have in your history and your wishes, I guess, come to life exactly as you expect them to.
It must be an honor to be able to be part of making those memories. What do you find most rewarding?
The satisfaction of when I have a couple that comes into a space that we've helped them create, and the emotion that they experience, and they look at me with tears and say, "This is more than I had ever expected it to be," and I cry with them.
Well,
I do.
It is obviously emotional, moving into a new phase of life, and it's also pretty amazing that you can run the spectrum for size of events. Mm-hmm. In fact, you're coming up on a very large event.
We are coming up on our largest to date. It is a corporate event, but it's a lot of work. Seeing 10,000 people over 3 days is going to be an experience, but we are so excited about it. But then again, we've done weddings for 15 people, and it's been so moving and emotional, and it's so satisfying.
I think that viewers will enjoy, as you return to the program, seeing some of the amazing photos. You were telling us a little bit about a wedding earlier where you had a kayak suspended, and it wasn't just suspended, there was something special inside of it.
It was. This bride, she was a kayaker herself, and then her father also enjoyed this hobby, and he had an old canoe that said, "How can we incorporate," because this is her love. And so we literally got in the space and we stood there and were like, and of course, I'm always one of these that looks up. Let's look up, let's put it up here. Let's make this a big focal point. So we did hang the canoe over as an entry piece with tons of floral design spilling out of it.
Amazing.
It was exquisite. And there was so many people that would come in and go, "Oh." But that was her, and that's what we wanted to have there.
And that is the wow factor that you often bring with your team. It has been so much fun having you for the first time, Melanie, but the great news is you'll be back. In fact, if you're just tuning in, Melanie Murphy will be back with Tie the Knot tips. And coming up in just a moment, we're back outside riding Harleys for a great cause. The Meredith Show team is ecstatic to debut Meredith's must-haves just in time for Mother's Day. And if you want to find any of the products we're about to introduce to you, have no fear, head to Forest Drive for the shops. First up is an amazing cream from Dia's Merle Norman Boutique. It's something designed to wear every day that uses advanced HD pigment technology to highlight your face. It's also designed to give you a youthful, fresh glow. It can be mixed with any foundation and used to highlight cheekbones, brow bones, or anywhere that you want a light catching accent. And guess what? The best part is this product is great for all skin tones. So again, you have to head to Forest Drive and find Dia's Merle Norman Boutique for the product. We'll have more must-haves up ahead. To sponsor a segment or a great story, call The Meredith Show at 803-430-6644.
For the last 100 years, marketing has been about push. Shout the details as often as you can and people will eventually buy from you. But your clients are changing. The way they shop and make decisions is changing. You can feel it coming. We're proposing a new idea. It's the idea that if you tell your story effectively, share your passion for why you do what you do and not just what you do, you'll attract people that want to be a part of it. What if you create an environment that people want to belong to? What if you tell your story in a way that intrigues people about you and the way you do things? This idea isn't for everyone. This is a concept that takes your passion, ideas, and most importantly, your story, and serves to pull your fan base closer and make them feel part of something. We take the elements of your brand that make you unique and simply tell your story. Everyone who loves what they do knows why. And why is where the power is.
Welcome to the Meredith Show. It's not every day we're surrounded by Harleys, but today I'm very excited to have Jennifer Lee with us from Riders Remembered. And that's an organization you founded through a tragedy, in fact.
We did. My husband and I founded Riders Remembered after losing a couple that was very close to us, Derek and Lee Aldata. They were killed last summer while riding their bike around Lake Murray by an uninsured driver. And they left behind 2 young girls. And so we tried to raise some money for the girls, and in doing so, heard so many other stories of families that had had loss. And so we decided to make it a full-blown charity.
Well, I have to say the funniest part to me about you doing this is you do not actually ride.
I don't ride. My husband rides, but I do not. I've never had really the opportunity or desire. But I tell you, being part of this charity, I've got my eyes on a couple bikes in here today.
They are amazing, as is some of the gear, which we hope to partake in and have a little fun. I understand that, unfortunately, as you were alluding to, these tragedies occur far too frequently, and today's benefactors are a story that really seem to upset many people but inspire them at the same time.
Yes, absolutely. We lost actually 113 bikers last year. Derek and Lee were just 2 of 113. But then there's so many more that are injured and have massive injuries. And Ed and Lisa Barton are 2 of those people. That's another chapter of the story. And I mean, Ed has served his country, 31 years in the military, combat experience in Operation Desert Storm. He's serving his community still to this day with the Richland County Sheriff's Department. And this couple is just a lovely couple. We were honored to throw this event for them.
Well, it's absolutely amazing, all of the things that people can come out and enjoy today. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yes, we planned this as much as we could. With local author Mary Lee came out and did a children's reading this morning. We have Kinder Music out here with us today. They're going to be putting on a song and dance class for the kids here in just a little while. We have the Bloodmobile out here collecting blood. We have the Harley-Davidson demo truck out back. They're taking people on rides every 30 minutes. I expect to see you on one of those rides.
Oh my goodness.
And we also have food vendors, local vendors, raffles, t-shirts, and the local band Barefoot and Reckless out on stage.
Lots of fun, lots of good
Lots
music,
of fun.
but all for a great cause. People
All for
can
a
come
great
out,
cause.
enjoy it all, and just make a small donation.
That's right. That's right. It's a completely free event. We ask for donations. We've got donation jars set out. We've got raffle jars set out. They can donate through raffle, through just straight up cash.
Awesome, and it's all to a great cause, and certainly those in need. Tell us why you decided you can do so many things that you can support, and there are a lot of activities going on today. Why did you choose to support Riders Remembered?
Well, one of the reasons I decided to is because Mr. Barton, he's a military man, and he was in the military for 31 years. And so that's close to my heart. My husband and I are both retired Air Force. So I chose this one to support today.
Well, that's very generous of you. What do you find inspirational about them coming out today?
I think it's wonderful because they're still actually having surgeries. Matter of fact, I was told that Lisa had a surgery, I believe it was this week, and they're still coming out to see the people. I think that's really wonderful. And they've had, I was actually in a bad car accident myself in 2010, and so I know how hard it is to come back from an accident, and theirs was much worse than mine. And the fact that they're coming back, and it's just amazing.
We were on our way home to Lexington on I-20. Nice day like this, no cares in the world, and driving along, and a lady in a car took a deliberate move and turned into a car that was in front of us, and we got caught up in that crash.
And you weren't just caught up, you were thrown. Tell us what happened.
Well, I was immediately knocked out and got a helicopter ride that I don't even remember. But according to the witnesses, they have those cement barriers that separate the highway. I was hitting those, hitting a car and the ground. And that particular day, I didn't wear a helmet. One thing about South Carolina is it's a no helmet law. Lisa always wears hers. She had hers on that day. So my hitting my head wherever it hit, caused me to have some pretty good brain issues. I lost my complete vision in my right eye, so I had no vision there, and I had no limited movement in my left arm because of the head injury. So, I'm an advocate of helmets now.
I actually rolled across the three lanes of the interstate had my helmet on. Otherwise, I probably would have had the same issues, but have injuries to the left hand, the right leg, and foot.
I see you're walking with a cane. You're on the mend.
On the mend, had hopefully my last surgery on my right leg, my right knee, Wednesday a week ago. So on the mend now, and hopefully that's going to be it.
Well, this morning kicked off with a ride of supporters, and this is all a fundraiser, and people are showing the love today. You said something that really struck me. You said you don't even know a lot of these people. What does it feel like to have this kind of support from your community?
It's amazing. And it has been amazing since the beginning, how many people have come to our aid and to our children's aid, with both parents being in the hospital. It's scary to leave them, to fend for themselves and have to deal with all of this. So we've had an amazing support group.
It's very overwhelming. I never in a million years thought that we would have such a big following so quickly. I figured if we ever got to that stage, it would be 5 or 10 years down the road. But the community, not just the biker community, but the Midlands area community in general, has really wrapped their arms around us. And it just goes to show us what a need for this kind of charity in our community is. And they have come out in droves and spent their money with us. They have donated items for us to raffle. They've just embraced us completely.
We're so happy to debut a brand new segment on the Meredith Show. If you're just tuning in, it's called Meredith's Must-Haves. We hope that you'll email us with your ideas, and you can send us an email. You can see it at the bottom of the screen at meredith@themeredithshow.com. We love your ideas, and we're really excited to share with you this week from Wild Birds Unlimited on Forest Drive, a fabulous gift for your mom for Mother's Day. In fact, the Eliminator Squirrel-Proof Bird Feeder has a really cool invention. It secures the seeds for the birds and keeps the squirrels from getting in because the weight of the squirrel, should they try to get onto the perch, pulls it down and closes the holes, so more food and more seed for the birds you love. The best part about this deal is if you get this wonderful bird feeder right now and you head to Wild Birds Unlimited the location at Forest Drive, you'll get a huge gift. You'll get a 20-pound bag of Supreme Seed to get you started for free with the purchase. So be sure to tell them that you saw it on Meredith's Must-Haves. And for more gift ideas, log on to our Facebook on The Meredith Show, and be sure to send us an email. We'd love to hear your suggestions. You might just see it on TV. To sponsor a segment or a great story, call The Meredith Show at 803-430-6644.
So this week on Tie the Knot Tips, we are going to talk about catering. Catering is a big component of your wedding day and can be a big component of your wedding budget, so you want to make sure you make this selection very carefully. Catering has changed over the years. We are no longer just placing food on a simple tray and placing it out for you to enjoy. Catering has gotten very creative, very stylish, and very unique. We are going to talk to two very talented caterers in the Columbia area, and they're going to tell us a little about how you select a caterer and what you should pay attention to in this process.
I'm Jesse Bullard with Southern Way Catering. The most important thing about choosing a caterer is finding the person who you can build a relationship with and spend the next 8 or 9 or 12 months planning the reception. With the catering portion of it being such a large factor, you want to make sure that you've got someone who's looking out for not only their best interest, but your best interest as well. Choosing a menu that's going to fit your needs, your tastes, and also your budget. The best way to find out about a good caterer is always going to be word of mouth. You know, a great caterer doesn't need to advertise heavily. The best way that they can get their name out there and build their reputation is by doing good work and taking good care of people and making their clients happy on that day so that they go and tell the next person who then tells the next person. So really word of mouth referrals is the best way.
I'm Leanne Ellis, and I'm an owner of Capital City Catering. I think the most important thing for a bride to know when she starts looking for a caterer is the style of catering she's looking for. There are a number of different options for catering, from traditional to modern and more trendy. And brides definitely know what they're looking for the overall vision of their day. And it's important for them to know that up front so that when they're researching the caterer, that they know what they're looking for so that someone can guide them. For many years, catering was very simple and pretty much straight across the board. Most caterers using chafing dishes, doing typical buffet lines and things of that nature. Catering has really taken on a new trend. We like to incorporate props in our displays and just really find unique ways to display food, something that when a guest walks in or the bride walks in, she is just blown away by the way it's presented. They decide if they love the item before they ever taste it. I mean, when they look at it, they know, they say, oh, this is going to be delicious.
Every day we get to get up close and personal with kids here on The Meredith Show, but it's one of my favorite things to do, especially when we're in the theater. Arthur, thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
We understand that you're one of the most outgoing kids in camp. Did you enjoy cinema camp?
Yes, ma'am.
What did you like about it?
I like that we had hands-on with technology. We got to learn new things that we usually wouldn't learn, and it wasn't just like a regular boring camp. We had fun, and we had fun and learning at the same time.
That's always great.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the ideal scenario. What was your favorite part about cinema camp? Because there's so much you got to learn, right?
Yes, ma'am. My favorite part was the hands-on with the cameras, because I was doing some filming, but not all of it, and the lights and the stuff.
You learned about lights too?
Yes, we learned about the framings that goes over the lights, how it could dim the lights, brighten the lights.
Arthur, you could be a speaker. You're so good on TV. I love it.
Thank you.
You had 8 students in there. Did that make it really nice and easier to learn because there was only a small group?
Yes, ma'am. It made it easier because it wasn't a lot of people. It wasn't like people that like to be loud talking, and we all got along together.
Tell me what you thought about the instructors. Were they really strict or really fun?
I think the instructors are really fun because they weren't like mean at all. Like some instructors, like if you made a mistake, they would just correct you without like having punishment, and they
They were just nice,
yes,
really nice and fun.
yes.
I have a secret to tell you. One of your teachers works for the Meredith Show, and he's one of my favorite people too.
Yes, ma'am.
His name is RJ Foley. Did you know he worked on the Meredith Show too?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Well, he makes it all happen. He's filming right now, in fact, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Shout out to RJ Foley.
I give a shout out to RJ Foley.
Harbor Chase, an assisted living and memory care community, is home to the best, those who live here and those who care for them. Kindness abounds, as does respect for each life and the dignity it has earned. Our highly trained, compassionate associates provide the highest quality of care that engages body, mind, and spirit.
I am so glad my son found Harbor Chase for me. I'm happy here.
Harbor Chase, celebrating senior living each and every day.
For the last 100 years, marketing has been about push. Shout the details as often as you can and people will eventually buy from you. But your clients are changing. The way they shop and make decisions is changing. You can feel it coming. We're proposing a new idea. It's the idea that if you tell your story effectively and share your passion for why you do what you do and not just what you do, you'll attract people that want to be a part of it. What if you create an environment that people want to belong to? What if you tell your story in a way that intrigues people about you and the way you do things? This idea isn't for everyone. This is a concept that takes your passion, ideas, and most importantly, your story, and serves to pull your fan base closer and make them feel part of something. We take the elements of your brand that make you unique and simply tell your story. Everyone who loves what they do knows why. And why is where the power is.
We told you we were hitting the road. We weren't joking around. Special thanks to our friends here at Thunder Tower for gearing me up, and all our Harley-Davidson friends and viewers. Stay tuned for more on The Meredith Show. You never know where we'll wind up when we're on the road. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like us on Facebook at The Meredith Show or email me at meredith@themeredithshow.com. You can also tweet us at Media Meredith. Follow us on Instagram. It's a brand new account. It's The Meredith Show with no spaces. We can't wait to share photos of our guests with you. And a special thanks this week to Abigail Ludwig with Moda for doing my makeup and hair on the episode. To sponsor a segment or a great story, call The Meredith Show at 803-430-6644. Tune in every week to The Meredith Show live on the radio, Wednesdays, 9 to 10 a.m. More inspiration and more love. And this week's tweetable quote of the week is for all the mothers out there. Special thanks to my mom, Barbara. Mother love is the fuel that enables a normal human being to do the impossible. Thanks for watching The Meredith Show, and remember, take a little time to share the love.